Hello, everybody! Oh, come on. Evangeline Lilly's about to come out here. Are you excited? That's so much better. That's so much better. Hey, housekeeping. Is there flash photography allowed at the panel? No. Is there video allowed at the panel? No. Very, very good. Is there fun allowed at the panel? Yes, there is. You guys raised about $5,000 for Operation Smile, so give yourself a round of applause for that. So last year, I was trying to save my voice, and I had a couple friends that were helping me host last year, one being Nathan Fillion, and one of the panels that he hosted very graciously for me was Evangeline Lilly. So I never even got to hang out with Evangeline on stage, which really disappointed me because she's freckles and I kind of have a big crush on her. So this year I made it a point to make sure that my voice be damned. I will go be on a stage with Evangeline Lilly. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage Evangeline Lilly. Keep it going, everybody. Keep it going.
Hello, over there.
Hi, over there.
There.
I can come closer if you'd like me to.
I am longing for you
All right,
to
here we
hear
go.
me.
I just did this last panel. I try to give you your space. You know what I mean? I like people having
Why?
their space. What if I labored thoroughly pulling that shot? I was like, oh, God, oh, my God. Oh, let me just
That's what happens when you party till 4 in the morning every night for the last 2 nights.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Keeping the rest of us up all night.
So, hi, guys. Look at Freckles is here.
Hi. So, of course, I was here last year, and this is no reflection of how much I'm excited to talk to you, but I am just a touch bummed that Nathan Fillion is not talking to me this year.
I don't blame her. In fact, I think all of you were thinking, I know, kind of wish Nathan was out here too, right? I love that guy. And
Who
he's a fellow
doesn't have a
Canadian.
crush?
So you guys, you know, you had that in common.
Who doesn't have a crush on Nathan Fillion?
Dumpies? I love that this lady was like, oh, yeah, pretty much. Check this guy. You watch a lot of Castle? Yes, you do. Did you watch Firefly? Yes, you did. Wow, lots of shiny in the audience. Guys, you know the drill. Who's got some questions for the lovely Miss Lilly?
I just realized I'm here to talk about my book, and I forgot to. You brought it.
Oh, you brought it. Oh, check you out. Oh, and you have the first question. Oh. See, the
Somebody's
Canadians really
do my
are
job
nice.
for me. This is my book.
Hi, Evangeline.
Hi, I'm gonna stay here now because I don't know how to get up. I'm stuck.
Would you like some help?
It's like you moving the chair. I'll be like, oh,
Come here.
you too. God,
And she's up. And she's up.
Thank you. The candle.
So, hi, Evangeline. I'm Julianne. And I'm going to regret it if I don't start by first saying I'm thrilled that you're back here at Nerd HQ. Because I was late to the game. I hadn't seen your work or become a fan until The Hobbit. And then from January and February this year, I was the daughter in This Is 40. You know, my relationship with Lost is none of your business. So became a huge fan of yours in a short period of time. And I'm really looking forward to this because you're an amazing writer and your musings alone. So.
Oh, thank you. Wow, you really have done your homework in
I
like,
have.
what, 2 months. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Maybe you should host this panel. I think that would... You and Nathan. I'll get
Yeah, have you ever read one of my musings?
Yeah, clearly I have. Look at that beard.
My question is a lost one, and I'll try to keep it general for maybe those who haven't and plan to see it. I remember Matthew saying his telling of the story was the most challenging to shoot in the pilot, and you actually had to do your take on it at some point. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Wait. Are you saying that Matthew said that he had the hardest job on the show?
No, like shooting his...
Because if so, I got some words for that guy.
No. I mean, in the bonus feature, I think, you know, the story he says on the beach when you're stitching him up, that was the most challenging of the pilot, you know. And at one point, you had to do your take on it, and I thought it was such a strong performance and just really great, and I wanted to know how you approached it, and was it challenging for you, if you know what I'm talking about?
No, I mean, do you know the backstory behind that scene?
I do not, actually. I just know I love what you did.
Would you like to hear it?
Yes, no, I would.
Oh, thank you. The lovely Zach's sister, whose name is really interesting, and I
Shekinah.
never remember.
It's a toughie. It's a toughie.
It is. Oh, she kind of
She kind of...
She kind of reminded me of Zach.
Exactly. There you go.
That's how I'm supposed to remember her name. She
reminded-
kind of reminded me of Zach.
It's true. It's word games. It works.
So you like honestly couldn't have asked a more appropriate question, because that scene happened to have been one of the scenes I had to do to audition the role. And in the acting world, there's this mythology about the audition scene, which is that it's jinxed. That if you've had to do a scene in an audition, you're going to royally screw it up when you actually have to shoot it. And I proved that myth to be true. So I was shooting that scene, and you can ask J.J. Abrams the next time you're talking to him.
I know, right? Nothing.
I think we did 35-ish takes.
Of that.
At about take 25, I was doing backward somersaults down the beach. Honestly, not metaphorically. I was literally doing backward somersaults down the beach, trying to shake it up and just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make this work. And we actually had to come back another day and try again. Because I was that bad. I was that bad in that scene. So when that scene actually, became part of television history, every time I see it, I just cringe and have this horrible memory.
Well, I thought the final product, the performance is great. So
It was worth it.
concur.
It was worth it. All those 75 takes.
Who's got the next question? Volunteers pointing out. Yes, you, sir.
You are lovely. Aside from Zach and Nathan, what's on your bucket list?
I don't know I was on your bucket list, but I'll hang it.
Well, when he started, he said, "You are lovely," aside from Zach and Nathan, and I was like,
Oh, no, sorry. I mean, I'm a Zach too, so.
Good man.
bucket list. Okay, so I have a fantasy. This is not even reality bucket list. I have a fantasy of learning the Arabic language, to speak and write it.
What did you get? What did that? Why? I mean, not that there's. No, I'm just. That's a very specific kind of.
Isn't it obvious? No? Doesn't everybody want to learn Arabic? Because
I would love to
Jasmine
learn. I would
and
love to learn
Aladdin?
another language, but Arabic is a very specific thing. Is there like a background or?
I don't know. I just think it's romantic and beautiful, and it sounds like song. And when you write it, it looks like art. And I don't know. I just think it's gorgeous. I want to have a cooler reason than that, but there's nothing cooler than I just.
I think that's a
like
very
it.
solid reason.
That's all. He's satisfied.
Moving on. Who's got the next question? Right over here, right up top.
Hi, Evangeline. My name's Teresa. I actually have two very short questions for you. One is from my
Greedy guts.
One is from my friend Dean back home in Vancouver, and he's got a huge crush on you, as I'm sure a lot of these young men do too, and women. When I told him that I was going to come see you today, he literally told me, "Oh my God, can you please ask her to marry me?" And I think he's watching online right now, so.
What's his name?
Dean.
Dean in Vancouver. Will I marry you?
Be honest.
He's a cutie.
Can I see his profile pic?
I'll show it to you later. So my question is, you do a lot of humanitarian work and work with a lot of charities. I was wondering if you could tell us about some of the projects you're currently working on, or ones that are near and dear to your heart.
Well, here's the weird thing about the humanitarian work that I do. In untraditional actor fashion, it's not a publicity stunt. So because when they are near and dear to my heart, I keep them super close to my heart. So I do humanitarian work. I do it primarily in Rwanda, and I work primarily with underprivileged people, orphans and widows and single mothers and whatnot. And then I just keep it super vague, because I go, it's not really about this. It's a super intimate, private thing. I've been doing it with the same people for like 12 years, and I love them like family.
I get it. I don't talk about my humanitarian work. I was saying, keep it on the DL. Don't show everybody.
That humility.
Who's next? We have vaguely pointing in a general direction. Who's got a microphone? Just raise your hand if you have a microphone. If you have a mic in your hand, put it in the air. That perfect. You, sir.
Hi.
Are you Dean from Vancouver? Rats.
What's your question,
Sorry.
Dave?
Sorry.
Lost was one of my all-time favorite TV shows. Somewhere up there near Seinfeld and Breaking Bad. And I think you did an awesome job. As was Seinfeld, I thought the ending of Lost sucked. I felt disappointed, like very anticlimactic. It got up and I followed it all the seasons, and it was really good. And then you guys just walked off and you were dead and didn't work. So
were we dead? Were we dead?
So, if you could go back and rewrite the ending to it, how would you do it?
Okay, here's my take on the ending, which is he's gonna be so unsatisfied. You didn't even answer my question. My take on the ending is this. Our show was about challenging you and everybody who watched it to ask the really tough life questions of themselves and to challenge themselves to think philosophically, to think esoterically, to think about their theologies, and to apply those to the challenging questions that came out of our show and maybe be challenged in those things, maybe be affirmed in those things. But the thing is year after year after year after year, we asked you questions. And everyone kept saying, give us the answers. Because answers are the opium of the masses. And why I was proud of the ending of Lost is because instead of wrapping it up in a pretty little bow and saying, here you go, here's your answer on a platter, like every other religious leader in the world, we decided to continue to ask you more questions and say, no, the answer is still within you. We're not going to answer it for you. And so I love the ending for that reason. That's not answering your question. But that's why I haven't rewritten it in my mind. I don't have an answer for your question. Dean.
Yes, you, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
It's great.
It is great. It's great talking to you. I personally, I loved the ending of Lost. I found it fully satisfying myself. Not just sucking up here.
Listen, kiss ass.
No. Did you like it?
I'm with you, Dean.
Oh, nope. All right, speaking of philosophical questions, me and my friend, we're mulling over this hypothetical, and I was wondering if you'd settle this for me. Can you do that?
I can't promise that until I know the question.
what's
it's
the
like Dean's
hypothetical?
question. I don't know. Ask me the question.
Would you hypothetically make out with me? I don't know.
No. All right. Say you wake up one morning, and you get up, get some coffee, and you hear a knock on your door. And it's a guy in a suit. He's like, hello, Evangeline.
Happens to me every morning. It's
Yes.
the weirdest thing.
And he's like, I brought you a spaceship. And it looks like an R-Wing from Star Fox. I don't know if you know anything about that. But he says...
He said the F word.
What? I did?
You said the F word.
Nah, no, I didn't. And he says, you can take this spaceship anywhere you want in the galaxy. You know how to operate it. And you might not survive. But you can go to where no man has gone before. Would you do it, or would you be like, no, I'm going to stay home? I said I wouldn't do it because I'm too scared of space. And she said that I'm a coward because it would be a good opportunity.
I thought you were going to ask me, where would you go?
Hey, you can answer
Go
that
anywhere
too.
in the universe. Where would you go? And I was going to say Nathan Fillion's house.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
She's coming with me.
Yeah, you guys have a good time. I got the Star Fox reference, by the way. Who's that? As if it's a challenge. Yes, you, sir, with the Dharma Initiative emblazoned on your chest.
Hi, I'm Dean from Vancouver.
You and the
Multiplying,
rest of them.
sir.
I couldn't resist that one. So, really enjoyed your acting and everything I've seen you do. And you're doing a lot of other things now. And I'm just wondering what your plans are down the road. Will you be doing some more acting besides the Lord of, the Hobbit and whatnot?
Yes, I will be doing some more acting, and I don't know exactly how long that will last for, because as some of you who might follow me with like religious fervor. You're the people who would know. I thought I had retired when Lost finished, and here I am still today.
Do you want me to ask her?
So I don't know how long that'll go on for, but as long as there are fun things that come up that I think will be a blast to do and will enrich my life and not be a drag, then I'll probably keep doing it. But for me, the focus right now is my writing, and just really, I've just been working so hard to try and bridge the gap from acting into authorship, and right now they work hand in hand, and that's great, and we'll just see how long that lasts for. Thank you.
What was because I wasn't here last year, it was that Nathan guy. What was the impetus? Like, what was it, something you've always wanted to do since you were a kid, to write, or was it something that struck you later on in life?
It's something that I've always done.
Oh.
And then later in life, when I found myself on a hit television show, working in Hawaii, living most people's dream, or a lot of people's dream, and I was kind of unhappy, I was like, oh, okay, so if I'm unhappy doing this, which is pretty fantastic, then what would make me happy? And I had to look around at my life and look at, okay, what do I do all the time that nobody pays me for, that I can't stop doing because I love it that much? And that was writing. And I think my first published work was a poem called My Little Sugar Bowl.
Loved it.
When I was 8, in my school newsletter. I still remember how it goes.
Can you recite it for the masses,
I can.
please? Thank you very much.
Thank you for prompting me.
Yes.
I have a little sugar bowl. It's sitting on my desk. It has a lot of sugar in it because I like it that way best. And when I'm alone, all alone in my room, I sneak a few little grains, even though I know very well that it hurts my brain. The end.
For 8 years old, that's really good, right? Yeah. You know,
And in the 80s, when nobody knew that sugar was bad for you yet.
I mean, you were there. Yeah. You were there.
Yeah. Trendsetter.
That actually, I'm gonna share a little childhood memory with you. This is just unearthed something in me. You guys ready? I was in 5th grade, and we had so I was like 10. I mean, well, I guess a few years older than 8. 10. Yeah, 10. It's 10. I don't know. Actually, it might have been 6th grade, so I was 17. Anyway, but the point is, we had an assignment to write a poem, and I wrote a poem that I was super proud of, and it was because I don't know, like I guess most people, when your poems rhyme and all that stuff, and I made this whole. It was called Ease, and it was like, and I can't remember all of it.
Whoa, back up. It was called Ease?
Ease, as in like quotation marks around an E, apostrophe S, Ease. Yeah.
I thought he was a 10-year-old writing about the ease of something. Like something, I was like, what 10-year-old uses the word ease? You were a genius 17-year-old in grade 6.
Clearly, I was a genius being 17 in grade 6. But I wrote this poem, and I was so proud of it. And it was, it was rhyming all these things like, the Emilio Estevez, the Charlie is Sheen, the chameleon hidden, the elephant seen, all this kind of stuff. I thought it was great. And in fact, it was really great because my teacher, I turned it in, and my teacher was like, Zach, I need to see you after class. I go up to her, and she's like, where did you plagiarize this from? No joke. Miss Morris, I love you, but you killed my dreams of ever publishing anything. And I just thought about that the other day. I was like, wow, I actually could have gone a whole nother direction possibly. But she genuinely thought I was like plagiarizing. It broke my little 17-year-old heart. So I'm really glad that nobody accused you of plagiarizing that.
Did they call your... No, actually, someone did.
Did they really?
I wasn't going to say it until I was like, I'll keep it to myself and tell him afterwards. But I had the exact same thing happen in grade 11.
No kidding.
And they called my parents in and everything.
From a poem or another piece of...
From a piece of fiction. Like, I wrote a story, and it was an origin story about, I think, how fish ended up in the sea. Because in my story, fish had legs originally, and then they... Anyway. And I swear to God, thank God for my incredible mother, because she said to me, did you plagiarize it? I said, no, Mom, I didn't. She was like, I knew it. You're brilliant.
I'm glad that
We both had our little 17-year-old hearts broken.
I know, it was horrible.
You in grade 6, me in grade 11. It was,
I know. Canada's got a whole different system, guys, so,
Yeah, we actually have an education system.
Oh! Oh my gosh, if Adam Baldwin were here, he would be apoplectic. What's that?
Sorry, Merca.
Are you a teacher? Are you a teacher?
Merca.
Thank you for your educational prowess, sir. An American teacher in the audience right now. Thank you.
Okay. In honor of all the teachers in the audience, I have to say I have a teacher who changed my life. Swear to God, he changed my life. His name was Mr. Gloucester. He had brown hair, blonde eyebrows, and a red mustache, naturally. And he was the kindest, most wonderful. He took a kid. I was like kind of a bit of a rebel when I was in grade 6 and not 17. And then he took me under his wing and was like, you're super smart, and I'm going to give you all kinds of responsibility, and like really, really believed in me. And from then on, I was practically straight A student and a goody two shoes, and nobody liked me. But I got a great education, and I really just triggered something in my mind where I suddenly thought, oh, I'm capable. I'm somebody. I'm smart. And it was because of Mr. Gloucester.
That's awesome. I had a principal when I was real young, and I was like super spazzy, not unlike today. And and the principal, but he knew, like he and my mom both had this long conversation about, like, yeah, he's got maybe he has AD. I mean, it was in the 80s, so that's where we got ADHD in the 80s. There's a play on words there I'm not going to go with, but anyway, but I was super spazzy, and the principal and my mom both protected me. They were like, look, he's whatever it hit, that's his thing, and like, don't put him on a Ritalin, don't do that. My mom, I don't know if anybody puts their kids on Ritalin, but my mom did not, and I'm grateful that she did not, because I'm glad that I ended up being the crazy spaz that I am today. So there you have it. Anyway, moving on. I feel like you're sharing yourself, and that's prompting.
If you had gone on Ritalin, Nerd HQ would have never happened.
Oh, maybe. No, you heard it right here.
It's only because of your spastic ADHD that we have Nerd HQ.
Rock and roll. I'll take it.
And I can say that with authority because my father has ADHD, and he's not on Ritalin, and he's bonkers. But that's why I wrote this crazy book.
Yeah. By the way, can we talk about this? We should talk about this. This is why we're.
I'd like to talk about this.
Yes, let's please.
Does anyone else want to talk about this though?
Does anybody have specific questions about the book? Please raise your hand and get a microphone.
How many of you in this room bought this book last year? Ho-ho!
Well done. Were you guys all here at the panel last year?
Thank you.
Nice.
So this year, I rewrote it. Sorry, it got better. Yeah, sorry about that. But what I did is because I rewrote it and it's now better, the downside is you might want to buy it again. The upside is last year's is a collector's item because we will never be printed again, ever, in the history of the whole whatever happens with the Squicker Wonker series, which hopefully it will be 20 years in the making of 18 books. So yeah, thank you. This year, I don't know if they managed to do it, but she kind of reminds me of Zach. Was working on a sound file because this year I'm working on an interactive book, and in the interactive book there is so I've been working with a Kiwi composer, and there's a Squicker soundtrack, and Sylvester McCoy has done the narration. He's voiced the book. And there's going to be animated elements, there's going to be little Easter eggs, there's going to be things that kids can touch and they come sort of to life, and it's going to be very, very fun. So how do I find out if that sound file is going to get cued?
It is cued. Are we ready to rock
Woohoo!
that? Let's rock it.
They're amazing.
There once was a clever and passionate girl who wandered away from a fair. She ventured inside a wagon-like ride, and what did she find in there? The Squicker Wonkers.
Is that the end of the... thank you, there you go. There's that. Sounds awesome. It's really awesome. What were the differences, by the way, that you wanted to change in the book, and what led to that?
I am a relentless and self-effacing perfectionist, unfortunately. So when I came last year, I was secretly not entirely satisfied with the writing of the book. And so when I realized that I was going to be publishing with Titan and I had a chance, sort of to go at it again, I went back in and I rewrote the story with the help of Titan's incredible editor, Laura Price. And I feel like this never happens, but for the first time ever, probably in my life, I'm 100% happy with something I've created. So that's this one. That's this book this year. And so the things that changed were just mainly some stanzas were added to clarify the story. Some stanzas were improved, and the ending was changed to put the focus in the right place structurally. And then visually, I moved some things around. So it'll be fun for those of you who have the book from last year to open them up and sort of compare and see what's changed and just see that process, that evolution. There are authors who I've sort of admired over time who come out with different versions of their own book, children's storybooks, and maybe 10 years later they go, oh, it wasn't good enough, and they try again and they do it again. So I was like, well, if other people can do it, then I can do it. And but next year, I'll stop tinkering with this one, because now I'm happy. And next year, I'll be coming out with the second book, The Demise of the Selma the Spoiled. So those of you who know the story, you know that means that this poor little girl is going to come to some kind of unfortunate end. Spoiler.
So show of hands, who was at the panel last year and who owns the book? So most of you don't know the book or know anything about the book. So we probably should have started with, what is your book? What is it about and where did it come from?
I'm tempted. I'm tempted to hand the mic to somebody who has the book and see what they would say. Does anyone want to volunteer? Who could describe the book to somebody? Yeah, the teacher in the crowd. Of course he wants to teach everybody. Great, pass it along.
I just imagined you jumping out like Jennifer Lawrence. I volunteer! I volunteer!
Okay, so you want my take on this? Okay. It's about a girl who is spoiled, and she meets some characters who all have their own issues. And basically, she comes into conflict with them because she wants her own way, and she doesn't get it. She says that her family is rich and that they're going to be punished because of their behavior, and a puppet of her grandfather comes down and takes a look at the situation and basically sides with the puppets and not with the girl. And she ends up, should I give away the ending? Oh. She ends up becoming something that she isn't at the beginning of the story. Can I make a comment on it as long as I have the mic? Zach gave me the mic, which is a huge mistake. My students can tell you that. It speaks to me, actually, because when I was in school, I was the anti-you guys. I was the perfect student through, and by the way, you were 10 in 5th grade because I teach 5th grade, so you were 10.
See?
I was the perfect student. I was, I sat up with my hands folded and did everything that I was asked to. And then when I got to be 13, I rebelled big time because I had done everything that my parents had asked me to do. And one of the things that I like about your book is that all the characters are flawed. And we all are, and I thought that I wasn't for a long time, but there was a seed of anger and arrogance inside me that didn't come out until I was 13. So that speaks to me from your book.
That's a good, yeah. I'm such a gentleman. See how I came and got that microphone for her?
You did help me off the floor earlier. Well, I just want to thank you very much for not only giving away the ending of my story, but for what you had to say. Yeah, exactly. But for what you had to say about it, because so I've written a cautionary tale, but I am very careful to call it a modern day cautionary tale, because in traditional cautionary tales, children were taught that the world is full of good people who are perfect and you want to side with them because they always do everything right, and bad people who are horrible and you want to judge them and exclude them and hurt them. And I wanted to write a story that presented the world as I think hopefully most of us actually understand it to be, which is there's a little bit of bad in me and you and everyone in this room, and there's a lot of good in me and you and everyone in this room. And it's more about the choices we make and what consequences are going to befall those choices, and whether we choose to sort of take actions that reflect the good in us or reflect the bad in us. The Squickerwonkers are all identified by a vice. There's Greer the Greedy, Mama the Mean, Papa the Proud, Andy the Arrogant. They all have a vice, but they're equally lovable. They're a bit spooky, but they're fun. They're balanced. They're people, but they're marionette puppets, which makes them a bit creepy. And Selma starts out the story as this clever and passionate girl who wanders away from a fair. So immediately, children, parents, everyone goes, oh, I know. This is the protagonist, this is the good girl, this is the one we side with and identify with, and we're going to be on her side. And everything is going to go right for her. And there's going to be the bad guys, these weird, spooky, creepy-looking Squickerwonkers, and we're going to sort of be against them because we think in those polarized terms. But when the story goes on, it actually plays out sort of the way playground drama does. Something unfair happens to the sweet, clever, passionate little girl, and it doesn't make sense. And it seems like, well, you should punish those Squickerwonkers because they popped your balloon, and that's mean. But on the playground, there's often not a parent or somebody there to say, that was wrong, and I'm going to punish you now. And children have to deal with these situations on their own. And they have a choice. They can either say, you popped my balloon, and I'm going to punch you in the face. Or I'm going to throw a tantrum, or I'm going to tell on you, or whatever else. Or they can choose to be clever, or be passionate, or demonstrate through their actions the more positive sides of themselves. And in this book, as the kids go, oh, I'm Selma, right? Children identify with the protagonist. She makes some unfortunate choices. She throws a tantrum, she pouts, she tattletales, she's horrible. She's horrible. And because of her actions and her choices, a negative consequence befalls her. But when that negative consequence befalls her, the Squickerwonkers swoop in and say, we'll take you. We're mad for a child that's wild. We love flawed people. Come be one of us. And that is exactly the message that I'm sending kids is, you know what, you're going to make mistakes. You're still super lovable. You're still fun or clever or passionate or cool. And that if you see someone who might look weird or seem bad, you got to dig a little deeper because they might be like the Squickerwonkers. They might just be odd, but also equally as lovable. So that's my book and my series.
A really good summation. We were actually talking in a panel just before this one. We were talking about characters that you play as an actor and how there's so much depth in these characters and they're so complex. And when you just decide that this person is good and that person is bad, you're doing it a disservice because there's so much more complexity to the human spirit than that. And it's amazing that you found such depth in writing a children's book. Do you feel that this is lacking in children's literature? Do you think that there are more books for kids that need that kind of complexity and depth, and that things are a little too light and dark?
Yeah, when I went to try and publish this book, there was a resounding no from the publishing world. They said it's too dark, it's too sophisticated, it's too confusing, all these different things. And I took that no to mean I'm onto something here. Because there's resistance when you're doing something really meaningful and outside of the box. And I really do think that we have slowly, since people like Roald Dahl and the Grimm's brothers and some of the really great children's book writers of our history, we've sanitized and sanitized and sanitized and sanitized to the point where now I think children are A, being mollycoddled, and also B, losing interest in literature. Mollycoddled. Mollycoddled.
Is that a Canadian thing? Mollycoddled?
Like decal?
Is that a Canadian thing?
Yeah. You know those stickers you put on cars? Those things, not bumper stickers, but like the things you put in the windows and stuff that you guys call decal.
You crazy woman! Decal?
Learned that in my education
I'm going to lump
system.
that in with poutine, which is actually quite tasty. I wish that was an American thing. Actually, I was going to ask you another question. Did having family direct you toward wanting to write children's literature, or was that something regardless of that?
I'd always loved kids' stories. I still go into the children's section of bookstores and buy illustrated books for myself. But then now the greatest reward is after 2 years of tireless work on this book and many gray hairs and many illnesses that have befallen me while I work on it, I can read this book to my 3-year-old son, and he loves it. He loves it so much. And there's nothing more rewarding than having him say, Mommy, can we read Selma again? And then when we get to the end of the book, he's like, oh, what happened, Mom? And I go, I don't know what happened. He goes, she got locked. And he loves it. And I go, why did she get locked? Because she threw a tantrum. And I do that, and I get locked. Locked in his room. So this is how he perceives the book in his 3-year-old mind, and it's super, super rewarding.
That's awesome. Any other questions? We got time for a few more. Yes, right over here on the right.
Hi, my name's Audrey, and this question isn't really about your book, but
sit down. Oh, I'm just kidding, Audrey.
No, it's okay. When I was growing up, I'm the child of 2 engineers, so I had nerdy stuff all over. But I'm the girl child. And it was still really uncomfortable for my parents for me to try to read Lord of the Rings. And it was uncomfortable for me as well because I couldn't... There's Galadriel, and there's a lot of female gods and goddesses, but there really wasn't, in a lot of sci-fi, any place where the girl had an adventure. And so when you became Tariel, finally there it was, a badass who got stuff done and fell in love, kinda, sorta, with the hot dwarf. And it never detracted from her story, even after that. And I just wanted to ask, what were your inspirations, especially since she is a completely created character for these movies? What brought you to bring that and really put a lot of power into that? Because there's a lot of ways you could have played that role that would have been really along the lines of what we usually see whenever a girl is in an action movie, where she's not in the adventure, she's the prize. So what specific inspirations did you take playing that role?
I got this one.
Well, first of all, The Hobbit was one of my favorite books as a little girl, and it didn't occur to me until I took the role of Tauriel that there wasn't a single female character in the book. And that just goes to show the very pitiful gender imbalance that was going on when we were kids in literature and in media. But what I think has happened in that shift is that there has been this pendulum swing, which I don't especially approve of, which is that women went from being the helpless heroine to trying to pretend to be men. And I was like, well, how is that gender equality? We want to be like you. That's actually pathetic. So when I play strong females, and particularly with Tauriel, it was my mission to represent true female strength. And I believe that our strength as women comes from our compassion, our selflessness, our instincts to help, to protect, to put others first. Unlike often, selfish men who, I'm just saying, it's all over literature, read it. All right? I mean, The Hobbit was full of it. The men were after revenge, greed, their pride. There was I'm blanking, but there was so many power. There were so many reasons why the men were out doing the missions they were doing, and they weren't very altruistic. And I was super proud to not be in there as a kick-ass woman and say, look what I can do. I can slay and I can kill. But say, look what I can do. I can protect and I can have compassion and I can be selfless and I can care and be gentle and not be like, ugh, but be feminine and graceful while slaughtering orcs.
I'm filtering so much right now. We got time for one last question, so no pressure.
I heard music. I was like, I'm trying to talk really fast. Sorry, I'm almost done.
Oh,
okay. I felt like I was on an awards ceremony when the music starts playing.
Right down here in the front.
Hi, Evie. I'm Josh. I have a Lost question because it's my favorite show of all time. Specifically, Kate, like the crime that she committed, do you think it was justified? Like she was on the run, and I was just wondering, what's your opinion on that?
Okay, justified crime.
Was it selfish? Were you after revenge? Power?
So, men wrote that character, is what he's saying.
Guys, that's our panel.
Yeah.
Evangeline Lilly, everybody. Evangeline Lilly. Keep it going, keep it going. Let's say it one more time for Evangeline Lilly.
Was that fun? We didn't really answer your question, but we kind of did, didn't we? Guys, thank you so much. I say this after. Books. Yes, we need to make that announcement. Thank you. If you did not purchase a book, actually, do you want to say it? Because you're going to say it far better than I do.
Yeah. So if you want.
Thank you, Lisa.
We have.
I'm going to go now. Bye, everybody. I love you. Bye.
We have books outside of the panel as you exit. They're $35 cash